Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. This is Dream Another Day Tarot, and this is going to be a reading for whoever needs to hear it. Please keep in mind when I do my readings, they are general and collective readings, okay? So just take what resonates and leave the rest for somebody else. I do have disclaimers down in my description box. You're welcome to check them out. Please also follow me on my other socials. I am on TikTok where I do daily readings. And I'm also on Instagram where I post memes and things like that. So if you want to go follow me there, that is also how you will reach out to me for personal readings. Okay, so DM me on my tarot Instagram. Okay, and I will give you details on how that process works. And we can do a more in-depth private personal reading. But if you are interested in joining me for my lives, I do live streams here on YouTube every Friday, and there I will answer your questions completely for free. Just drop them in the chat box and I will try and go at a kind of a first come first serve basis down the list, and I try not to miss anybody. So please do join me for my live streams. It can be a lot of fun. It's kind of, I love getting y'all's questions. So come join me there. It does vary. The time does vary on Fridays when I go live. So if you would like to, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. And then that way you will get a heads up when I'm going live, okay? Because it'll be kind of at a different time every Friday. So let's go ahead and get into this reading. Again, I have disclaimers down below. Gender is fluid in tarot, so just place yourself where you fit. I do try and use gender neutral language as much as possible just to make my readings more inclusive, okay? So anything else? I think that's about it. That's the update. So let me go ahead and say my affirmations and we'll get started. Thank you so much, Spirit, for your divine messages and guidance. We are deeply grateful and we know we couldn't do this without you. Would you please help guide the collective spirit for their highest good, and please bless us and protect us as we move forward into this reading. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. Oof, oof, Three of Swords. Why are you showing your ugly face? Hierophant. Ooh, you know, it's been interesting. If you do follow me on YouTube, also thank you so much for subscribing. And if you like the video, please hit that like button. It makes a big difference. But it's so interesting, this idea of, you know, kind of traditional standard expectations, societal structures, things like that, just like really bringing a lot of heartache and sorrow to a lot of people, you know, who aren't fitting into that, or they're not achieving what it is they think they should achieve, or, you know, they feel like they're not, deserving of it, or they're not cut out for it. You know, it's like if you think you're supposed to do A, B, and C and you're not able to do any of those things for whatever reason, either you don't fit the mold or whatever, it's going to be pretty heartbreaking. Okay, look at that. Five of Swords. Five of Swords is about petty, backstabbing, conflict, unnecessary conflict. I think that kind of fits what we're talking about here too, because Five of Swords can also talk about self-sabotage, because when you, hurt others, you're really hurting yourself ultimately, you know, and it can be hard because here's the thing. If you are, we'll put it this way, I don't want to say a victim, but if you have been affected by petty backstabbing behavior, it can make you kind of resentful, and it can make you kind of petty, or maybe you just like don't trust people. So then you kind of, don't fully lean into your relationships as much as you could. So the amount of trust that's built between you and other people is like not as good as it could be. Things like that. So it's just kind of this petty backstabbing energy, right? And in society, right, there is a lot of that goes down, you know what I mean? That's how a lot of people get ahead. So it gets to be kind of dog eat dog, right? That's kind of what they're talking about here. Wow, Three of Wands. Okay, this is about looking into your future. What is possible for me? You know, what should I invest in order to go into the direction that I want to go, right? So this is about being optimistic in a way. And then we have the damn devil coming out. And with the devil, really that's talking about fear. You know, I literally almost just said narcissism, but it's like, wow, that's crazy that I almost said that. It's really about like being held captive, okay, by your fears, desires, addictions, negative thinking, whatever it is, and not recognizing that like you may be giving your power away. you know, by doing that. And you have the power to free yourself from that, okay? Look at that Ace of Swords. It's about clarity, cutting through the confusion and recognizing the truth, okay? And the truth is that there could be some petty backstabbing energy either in your field, like shit that you're doing. Gotta be honest with yourself, honey. Are you being petty? You know? And a lot of people, I think these days too, especially, are like very much promote petty behavior, or they think that like being petty is funny. And like in some cases it can be funny, especially if it's the only thing that you can do in a situation. So you take power in whatever little way you can. That's being petty. Being petty is keeping track, you know what I mean? And holding people accountable. And, you know, sometimes it also blends in with revenge, and it gets into dangerous territory though. Look at that, the Star card in reverse. It gets into dangerous territory because you start to lose your connection with kind of purity of spirit, right? And that, I think that's, you know, and purity is a really toxic thing also that is kind of shoved down our throats. So we may be rebellious against the idea of having pure intentions because we don't trust that other people have pure intentions. And how am I going to get ahead? You know what I mean? How am I going to get to where I want to go? But you have to be careful about that, because that type of thinking can keep you trapped in fear, where that you're afraid of what other people are going to do to you. So you think, well, I better do it first. So then you end up being the petty bitch. You know what I'm saying? And it can be really toxic. Like, look at this sad Knight of Cups. This could be somebody coming towards you with an offer of love, affection, support, whatever. And you may be so wrapped up in like your kind of like, on this kind of like, you know, and not to be a dick, y'all, like, because survival is important, you know what I mean? Taking care of your basic necessities, blah, blah, blah. So I don't want to say that like the physical world is like low vibe and all that sort of bullshit. Like, no, like it's all connected. We don't get to distinguish what is or isn't worthy of our attention based on our spiritual pursuits, okay? Because that stuff can get thrown out the window right here if you are too focused on certain things. But you cannot neglect your base instinctual needs here. So when I say like, you know, lower level type of, you know, thinking, I'm really saying if you're caught up in the squabble, you know what I mean, of everyday life, then you may be ignoring or avoiding, you know, some kind of like more gentle, kind-hearted people around you, because you're kind of like, well, I don't really trust that you're being genuine. You probably just have your own, you know, look at that, Four of Swords. You're like, you know, I've been wounded in love before, and I've already had to heal from that. And so I'm not trying to play that game again. So I don't really trust that you're being genuine, because you're probably just being self-serving. And ultimately, you're probably going to backstab me as well. You know what I mean? But so do you see how that cuts you off from being able to be vulnerable and in connection with spirit and your higher purpose, which is really to be a being of love? And as cheesy as that sounds, because we also need to be badass too at the same time, it's a little hard to maintain that balance, right? But that is that's kind of the, I would say, not a warning, but that's kind of the cautionary message right now through this card, is kind of like, don't let yourself get caught up in the squabble where then you forget about these really basic, you know, kind of spiritual hygiene, right? Of becoming, you know, somewhat, you know, clear of the, you know, petty resentments or the daily, you know, dose of, you know, anger and resentment or whatever it is. You get what I'm saying? Like, remember to water your plants, so to speak, right? Remember to take a spiritual shower and get rid of that shit and be like, yeah, it doesn't make me ignorant to it, you know? It doesn't make me vulnerable necessarily to attack. In fact, it makes you more clear-minded and more level-headed to tell the difference between whether or not somebody is actually coming towards you with love and compassion and humility, or, you know, are they trying to get one over on you? You know, you'll be much more clear-headed, because you can't just say, it's like that old saying, and I hate this saying, but it's a good example, is like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like a really gnarly saying, and I don't know why we say that, but the concept is the bathwater's gotta go, but the baby obviously should not get thrown out. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point of the bath, is you're trying to wash the baby. You can't throw the baby out. So like the whole thing, being raised in the fucking woods, it's just, you just get old shit like that. But like the idea is, don't put up a wall to everybody because some of them might be bad, basically. So that's kind of the message here, is get that clarity going again. We did see the Ace of Swords. That's about, you know, having some clarity, cutting through the noise, seeing the truth of people and of your situation and of yourself, you know. 10 of Wands. See what a burden it is to carry all that resentment, you know, and all that pain and frustration and sorrow and all the bad things that have happened to you. Like, you see this watering can, it's like you water, whatever you water will grow, you know. It's that whole idea, you know. So it's like, if you are, it's kind of like that's such an old man thing. Why am I all these old man fucking sayings? But it's like, you have two wolves inside you. So it's whatever wolf you feed, right? So it's the same thing as like, you know, plants. It's like you know, whatever plants you water, right? That's what will grow. So you have to be cautious of getting caught up in these thinking patterns and cycles that will keep you stuck, you know? Look at that, 6 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. You have to be able to leave that stuff behind. You know what I mean? And continue to move away from people or things that make you feel like that. Continue to move towards your future in a healthy way. Because look at this. The 3 of Wands is in the center of your reading. On either side is all this toxic energy. You know, and it's like I said, I don't necessarily want to say that you are a victim, because I don't think victim mentality is good. You were a victim when it happened, but after it's over, you are now a survivor of that situation and you're healing from it. And that should be your mindset and your goal. And yes, when you are in a state of self-preservation, it is important to protect yourself and not allow it to continue to happen, right? And so sometimes that means cutting off everybody in order to protect yourself. But you also need support systems while you're going through a healing process. And sometimes they will be new people that come into your life who become a part of your support system while you're growing and healing from bad experiences of the past. So you can't, I mean, a lot of times, y'all, I'm just like, I don't know why this message is coming through pretty strong, is like, when traumatic things happen to us, sometimes that can cause us to self-isolate, okay, out of fear. And when we self-isolate, we end up carrying it all on our own, you know? So you don't want to self-isolate, honey. It may seem like the safest thing to do, but it can actually be the most dangerous thing you can do, especially if you struggle with, you know, your mental health. And if you struggle with, you know, just trigger warning, you can skip 10 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear me say this, but, you know, if you struggle with like suicidal thoughts and suicidal ideation, really important to have people around you, like on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? Because then you will stay in touch with reality, the outside of your pain. You know, otherwise you get just totally wrapped up and caught up in your pain and your fear and your anger and all that sort of thing. And then you're just carrying it all on your own, and it can become too much to bear, you know? You don't want to let that happen to you. And if you feel like you're in that kind of state of mind right now, trust me, there are people you can reach out to who are complete strangers. They're not going to judge you. They don't know anything about you or your life, you know, and they're not going to, you know, give you stupid advice. Like, there's crisis lines for a reason. You know what I mean? And it's because it fucking helps. It works. And especially like, if you have isolated and you don't feel like you have any support systems, you know, you've sabotaged yourself into this corner, you know what I mean? Then it's time to start breaking out of that, you know, and start to look forward into your future and see what's positive and what's possible for you. As hard as it may sound, you know, and this is like, of course, easier said than done. You know, I'm not saying this from a place of like, you know, inexperience, okay, or of ignorance of how terrible it can be and how challenging it is. No, I'm speaking from personal experience, and it is a daily struggle to get to a place of optimism, you know. But I feel like, you know, it's what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't keep making it harder on yourself, basically. This is the message that's coming through, honey. And I'm sorry, and sometimes it's hard for me to even give these messages because you don't need any more self-criticism right now. Okay? And you don't need anyone to be criticizing you or telling you what you should do. But if you're still in this reading, okay, and it's resonating with you, then I feel like it, you know, hopefully is helpful, because sometimes we need a little bit of like, not tough love, but you need someone to level with you and be like, look, you know what I mean? I understand this process, you know what I mean? And how this happens. And I know it's really dark and really deep and really hard when you're down in there. You know what I mean? Wow, the Three of Pentacles is here at the bottom of the deck in the reverse. This collaborative effort between you and other people is probably suffering. You know, your connection and building collaboration with other people is probably suffering right now because of this kind of self-isolation, you know? And like I said, I know it happens because people probably fucking mistreated you and it was not cool. You know what I mean? And that probably really impacted you in a toxic way, you know, because other people can be really toxic. I just saw the Four of Coins, and in this deck, it's like almost like Rapunzel in a tower. You know what I mean? So it could be that other people have mistreated you into this place of isolation, you know? So maybe there's actually people in your life right now who have kind of become your sole support system, you know? This can happen with relationships, romantic partners. It can happen with parents, siblings, guardians, you know, even best friends, you know, lovers, things like that. It can happen. And so if you are feeling like there's one person in your life who's meant to be like your sole support system and you feel stuck in that relationship and there's nobody else around you, that person is probably isolating you on purpose. Whether it's conscious or subconscious, they could be isolating you on purpose, or you could be isolating yourself in that connection here with that Five of Swords, because fear of losing that person. So maybe you're trying to, I'm getting a whole separate message here. Maybe you're trying to hold on to that person or that relationship, or they're doing that to you. You could be equally codependent and toxic together, where that then it's like creating all this burden for the both of you because you've isolated your relationship away from other support systems. And if that's like hard for you to hear and you're resonating with it, like please, please, please take caution. You know what I mean? Like, because this could be really, really bad for your spiritual growth here, because it's really stifling your future. Like, it's stifling what is possible for you, because, you know, maybe you have lost friends because, you know, you're like, I don't like the way you looked at my person, or, you know what I mean? You have insecurities and that makes you jealous. So then you don't want your friends around your partner. Like, you gotta look at this stuff. If that resonates with you, please look at that, because I'm telling you, that will not only destroy your relationship with that person, because it will eventually, you know, but it can destroy your relationships with your friends and family too. And like I said, if you feel like your partner is doing that to you, where that they don't want you to be around their friends, and so they keep that separate, or they don't want you to be around your friends without them, like you can't go out without them because they're worried you're gonna cheat or something, or they're like, they don't like, your family doesn't like them, so they don't want you around your family, that's bad news. Like, that's coming from a place of fear and control, and trying to maintain some level of you know, power in the relationship's outcome. And it's almost like you may be figuring this out. Like I said, if you're resonating with that, I feel like you're starting to look outside of the relationship, or outside of your isolation, or whatever it is that's got you trapped here, this toxic thinking pattern that's causing you to isolate from everybody. Like, you could be completely alone, isolated, or you could be in some type of toxic codependent connection. Like I said, whether that's a parent or that's a, you know, a romantic relationship or anything like that, you know, a best friend. You're starting to look outside of the connection. And if you're watching this reading, this is probably like a, you know, you reaching out, right, for something else, because you're like, I'm not getting what I need in this situation. I'm feeling isolated, I'm overwhelmed, I'm overburdened, I'm afraid, I'm, you know, maybe I'm being resentful, you know, I feel cut off from my spiritual connection, you know, my spiritual well-being is being impacted. Like, this is you looking forward and looking out, okay, into what's possible for you. And I'm so fucking proud of you for that. And you really, really deserve to hear that, that this is exactly what you should be doing. And whether that's me or some other tarot reader who's going to encourage you and give you, you know, the strength and the faith to step outside of this isolation that you're in and recognize that there's a big, beautiful, wide world out there. And I know it seems scary, and it's portrayed in such a fucked up way. And so many times I was afraid to go out into the world. But I'm telling you, it fucking surprised the hell out of me. And I hope that it surprises you too. I know it will, especially if you just can, you know, step outside of the fear and try it in small ways first. You know what I mean? Try it in small ways. I'm seeing the Page of Pentacles in reverse. You could be afraid to start something new because of finances, okay? You could have transportation problems. I just saw the Chariot in reverse, okay? These are real obstacles, I get it, but look at this, the Justice card. Justice always swoops in at the right fucking time. And sometimes justice is cold and harsh, you know what I mean? Other times it's warm and uplifting, you know what I mean? It all depends on what the situation calls for. So I feel like justice is coming, and whether that is, like I said, you know, you need to learn some type of lesson here, or other people in your life who have put you into this position need to learn some type of lesson here. So usually, and look at this, Three of Pentacles in reverse showing itself again, meaning that the collaborative effort between you and other people is off. There's something off about it, whether that's the people you're working with now or the fact that you're not working with anybody. Like I said, this message is very much split between two groups here. But look, the Nine of Swords in reverse tells me that this stress, this worry, this strife, this weight that you've been carrying is about to be thrown off of you somehow. I feel like there's going to be some outside intervention here, but it's because you cracked that door. You know, it's because you pulled the curtain back, you opened the window and you looked outside. You know what I mean? That's the energy here. And so you are inviting justice into your life. And I'm telling you, it's good. It's a very good thing. You know, I mean, it rebalances things. Sometimes this happens, y'all. Sometimes we get stagnant, we get stuck for whatever the reason is. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how we got there. It does, because we'll learn from it. But what really matters is that we get ourselves out. You know what I mean? And sometimes the universe will come in and will create scenarios to give us opportunities to get out. But we have to take that step, or we will be forced into it. You know what I mean? Look at that. Wow. See, Two of Swords in reverse and the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles to me is all about community, generational wealth, building something that lasts a lifetime, family, okay? This is totally co-collaborative. This is a collaborative effort between you and generations of people, right? Like this is the Ten of Pentacles is building you know, long-term stability and wealth for yourself and your family and those you love. Okay, that's what Ten of Pentacles is. And with the Two of Swords coming out in reverse, Two of Swords is about being at a crossroads, okay, and not being able to see the way forward, right, with a blindfold on, and the two swords in front of you, trying to protect yourself, right, because you don't know what's coming or who's there or, you know, what's coming next. So you're trying to protect yourself by staying still. Right? That's what the Two of Swords is. And in the traditional Rider-Waite, they also have a blindfold on. So they can't see the way forward, okay? Because they're stuck in whatever it is that they're in. You know what I mean? They're nervous, so they're trying to protect themselves, okay? Right? With this kind of petty saboteur or like untrusting energy, right? But you're at a crossroads because it's almost like there's something coming next. You can feel it. You're what's next for me, right? So the Two of Swords is about being at this crossroads of what's next, but you're stuck because you can't see the way forward and you're afraid, so you're trying to protect yourself. This fully encompasses what is happening with you right now, and it's coming out in reverse, okay? This is super, super positive news. This is how I'm looking at this. That is going to change. That's maybe where you've been, but that's not where you're staying, honey. It's gonna change because you are going to pull the blindfold off, put those swords down, stand up, and walk forward. Regardless, you know, you're gonna overcome your fear, drop those burdens, and become curious, okay? And open-hearted and trusting, all right? Become trusting that you can have this, you know? And this is about having connection that isn't stifling. It's expansive, okay? And it's abundant, right? This is about not carrying everything on your own. Everybody contributes a little bit here, you know what I mean? And this is about being happy. And so you can freaking bet your bottom dollar that you're gonna be in a good, balanced place spiritually too. you know, because you're going to have your needs met, and not by one person, but by a freaking village of people, you know, by your community. So if you're feeling cut off from your community, whoever your community is, we all have community. We all deserve community, and we all need community so that we can feel validated in our perspective. You know what I mean? And honestly, isolation will make you even more resentful and even more, you know, hard to be around. so then when it is time for you to be with your community, you know what I mean, you have to relearn like those social skills. So even if you're, you know, say, you know, you're not in a community that necessarily I would belong to, right? It doesn't matter, because you still deserve community, even if that's being with, you know, people who, you know, like I disagree with. I still want you to be around people that you agree with, right? So that you can feel safe and validated and loved by people who understand you, okay? Even if I don't understand you or I don't agree with you, you still deserve community. And that's where this compassion comes in, you know what I mean? That I feel like I really, really try and nurture. It's important that we're not stuck in echo chambers, because we need to hear from people that we disagree with in order to understand more people than just ourselves in our community, right? And as we do that, then we kind of start to grow as a species, right? And we start to evolve so that we can create a future where that we all can belong in this new future, right? We can all belong to this new world together with optimism moving forward, and you know, having a healthy level of you know, like allowances, right? Giving grace. Right? We have to be able to give grace to each other to, I mean, honestly, survive as a species, but you know, whatever. It's a little deep. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull a couple more cards and then close out this reading, because it is getting a little long. If you're still here and you're resonating, please do hit that like button. It really makes a big difference for my channel. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. And when you do, hit the bell. And you really won't get a lot of notifications. I go live every Friday, and I want you all to get a heads up, because the time will vary. So if you hit that bell, you'll just get a notification when I'm going live. Okay, so you can come join me. You can ask questions, and you can ask me personal questions in the chat for free, okay? And then you can drop me a donation if you'd like to, but you don't have to. It's, you know, just optional. And then if you want a private, more personal reading, all you have to do is go down to my link tree. It's always in my description box. The donation links are down there as well. If you go to my link tree, go to my Instagram, okay? It should say Tarot Instagram on my link tree. And you just send me a message, okay? My profile is public, so you should be able to see all my posts. Send me a message and just say you want a personal reading. You know, tell me if you have any specific questions or intentions for the reading. And I'll let you know what the pricing is and the process and everything, okay? Yo, you've got to be kidding me. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. Okay, so I'm getting here. We got that Justice card earlier. And the Justice card, I also saw the Chariot in reverse, right? You might be having difficulty with transportation, and that's keeping you isolated, okay? Or with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, that you may be struggling financially as well. Look at this. You've got the Two of Swords coming out, okay? We just talked about the Two of Swords. So you're at this crossroads. You may be feeling afraid, uncertain. You know what I mean? You may not be able to see the way forward. That's normal. That's natural. It happens. Look at this. We've got the Chariot coming out in the upright. Okay, so what I'm really getting is that there's going to be some type of forward movement here, whether that's, and with the Justice card, that's what I was going to say. The Justice card could talk about a legal situation where you get some type of legal ruling in your favor, or something happens that rebalances your life, where that it's like, you know, maybe you, you know, filed an insurance claim and you've been waiting for your claim to be approved so that you can get repairs to your vehicle or something like that, okay, something like that. Or you're waiting for some type of legal decision that would give you enough money to then get on your feet, or whatever. I feel like that's going to happen, and you're going to be able to move forward. That something is going to happen to get you back in balance, because the Chariot is all about balance, and so is the Justice card, because there's these two horses, and they're both different colors, right? Black and white. So it's about the two energies, harnessing those two energies, right? Where that it's like you're being, You're being optimistic and excited and open and compassionate and having grace for others and forgiveness and all that sort of thing. But then on the other hand, you're also protecting yourself and holding proper boundaries and recognizing the things in your life that need to be adjusted. So you're saying no to things as much as you're saying yes to things too. And you're getting that shit in balance. You've also got the Two of Swords. There's a lot of twos going on as far as, you know, balancing two things. And I feel like things are going to move forward really quickly. I really am. Look at that, the Hermit card. You may have been spending a lot of time in isolation, and now you've found the light, okay, within, and that's going to help guide you out of the darkness. It's crazy. I mean, your whole reading has just been confirmation after confirmation. So if you're resonating with this reading and it really means a lot to you, have faith and stay optimistic, and you know, it's going to work out. Things are going to be okay. I'm going to pull a couple of oracle cards and then close out this reading. Wow. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. Any messages, Spirit, for this reading? Yeah, please do hit those buttons, y'all. Wow, what the heck? This is crazy. So you have surprise, okay? This is really reminding me of the Justice card, of something coming in, something new happening, something that shakes things up and it changes the course of where you're at right now. And look, if you look, they're picking up a bag, and it looks like either it says 6,000 on it or it says good. I can't tell. I don't know if you could maybe see that, if it'll focus. But so it's either a bunch of money or it's something good. It's a good surprise, okay? Then you have house. Again, this is like being isolated, being stuck inside, you know what I mean? You know, but at the same time, it reminds me of the Ten of Pentacles too, because if you see this like really big house, like castle in the background of this card. So it's like maybe finding a new home, you know what I mean? Maybe that's part of it, is you're relocating to a better living situation where you're gonna be in community and it's gonna be more collaborative. And then you also have servant here. So you could be, you know, maybe you find a new job. I know it sounds like maybe that's kind of silly, but I don't think it's silly considering that it looks like there was some financial struggles, you know, situations in your living situation and your money. And so if you find a new job and a new place to live, that's going to change your entire world right now. So servant could be you finding a job maybe as a server, you know what I mean? Working in a restaurant or something, working for people. You know what I mean? It's a surprise, and it's a good surprise. Maybe it's a work trade. If you've ever done a work trade before, where you work where you live, they can be challenging, but if it's a good situation, then it can be really cool. So yeah, just, you know, just watch out for petty, backstabby energy, but don't stay fearful where that you keep yourself isolated from actually connecting with people who aren't gonna do you dirty, right? You know what I'm saying? So, okay, wow. This has been a really cool reading. I really hope that you liked it. If you did, please do hit that like button, of course, and drop me a comment. And go check out my Linktree. So you can follow me on TikTok. I do daily readings over there. And then you can also find my Instagram so that you can hit me up for personal readings, okay? Yeah, this has been a good reading. I will see you all again next time. I do daily uploads here on YouTube, so if you want to subscribe. And again, I do my live streams every Friday, so hit the notification bell. I gotta say all the things, you know, because I recognize when readers say that stuff to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta do that, click, 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 you know? So anyway, thanks for your support, everyone. I appreciate you, and I will see you again next time. Bye.